Tens of thousands of healthcare workers are walking off the job. The impact this strike could have for you and your family. And are rising Halloween prices haunting your bank account? Ways you can save some cash while staying in the spooky spirit. You're watching The Rundown. Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Winston. Kaiser workers have started their 3-day strike. Patients should prepare for longer wait times and the rescheduling of non-urgent procedures. The Coalition of Kaiser Permanente unions contract expired over the weekend. Healthcare workers, including nurses, lab techs, pharmacy, and sanitation workers, say they're protesting Kaiser executives' bad faith bargaining, which is keeping them from finding solutions to solve what they call a short staffing crisis. Workers are asking for a $25 an hour minimum wage to help address the issue.
Never in my lifetime I would imagine that I would see the same scenarios I saw back home, me growing up, going to a hospital and waiting, 3-4 hours on the waiting room to be seen. It breaks my heart because I can't help them.
That woman says her colleagues are overworked and patients are waiting hours to be treated. California's newest senator, LaFonza Butler, is officially in office.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States?
Senator Butler was sworn in by Vice President Kamala Harris Tuesday. She's now the first black lesbian to serve in the United States Senate. She previously led Emily's List, an organization that helps women who are pro-choice Democrats win elected office. The big question is whether she will run for the seat in 2024. Right now, it's an interim job to fill late Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat until the end of the term. The country needs a new Speaker of the House after the House voted to get rid of Bakersfield Republican Kevin McCarthy. The move is a first in U.S. history. A fraction of the far right successfully ousted McCarthy Tuesday after Florida Republican Matt Gaetz called for a vote. McCarthy had been under fire for working with Democrats to stave off a government shutdown last week. And North Carolina Republican Patrick McHenry has taken over as temporary Speaker for now.
I believe I can continue to fight, maybe in a different manner. I will not run for Speaker again.
Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word.
It's disgusting. It's what's disgusting about Washington.
House Republicans will gather October 11th to hold internal elections to nominate a replacement. All right, it's time to check in with meteorologist Shauna Mendiola, who's here with an update on some warmer temperatures this week.
Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Shauna Mendiola here with a look at that warmer forecast. Yes, it is fall, but it's going to feel like summer in the afternoons with highs out of the 60s as we start the day. We're going to be going up to the 80s and 90s by the afternoons with some wind on the way as well. Weak to moderate, allowing things to really heat up Thursday and Friday. Ridge of high pressure setting up. That's also allowing things to heat up, and it's going to keep things dry up and down the west coast. As we head to the weekend, that high shifts east, and it's going to take with it some of the warmth, but it's still going to be well above average as we stay below the jet stream. So look at those numbers here on the forecast. Highs going up, 80s for now, 90s on Thursday, Friday. The weekend also well above average in the 90s in LA. Almost triple-digit heat coming your way in the valleys and Inland Empire. Have a great day.
People who live and work in Ladera Heights say they are tired of rampant crimes in their neighborhood, so they're doing something about it through a grassroots effort. Business owners say retail thefts are happening daily, and that's driving businesses out of the area. Residents also tell us they're being harassed by transients and people who live in encampments and RVs. So the community reached out to law enforcement and elected officials for a public meeting to alert them about their concerns.
It makes it very difficult to stay in business when you're constantly taking losses.
We're not going to put up with it anymore. And our politicians better get ready, because we are going to elect people that care for our city, for our county, and for our community.
LAPD says it's increasing patrol in the area. More community meetings are being planned to continue to address the crime and homelessness in the neighborhood. Neighbors in Hollywood say they're worried for their safety now that a homeless encampment has moved in right next to a much-loved park. So people who regularly visit Poinsettia Park and Recreation Center say there's trash everywhere. The city tells us it has scheduled a cleanup for Thursday and will offer temporary shelter to the people that they are removing. The LA City Council has taken the first step toward banning businesses from going cashless. Council member Heather Hutt introduced the motion, saying many people who live and work in LA rely on cash because they don't have access to bank accounts or credit cards. Hutt says by going cashless, stores, restaurants, and vendors are unfairly excluding those customers. And many businesses went cash-free during the pandemic, and others have banned cash as a safety measure against robbery and theft. A legislative analyst will now work with the city attorney's office to create a new policy. The Biden administration announced debt relief for another 125,000 student loan borrowers. The latest decision would forgive nearly $9 billion in student loans. After the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, the White House has been doing what it calls fixes to the system. Among them is the so-called Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which wipes away student loan debt for qualifying public sector workers. In total, more than 3.5 million Americans have had their debt canceled or partially canceled by the Biden administration. In a historic move, student assistants who work for California university campuses have set the stage to unionize. After collecting 8,500 signatures across 23 campuses, they won the right to vote on forming the union. Student assistants say they're underpaid and don't receive sick time or health insurance.
One of the biggest benefits would be the financial burden I carry. I have to maintain multiple jobs to be able to afford a living.
20,000 student assistants would be eligible to vote, which they hope will happen in January. Now, if approved, it would create the largest undergraduate working student union in U.S. history. Santa Monica city leaders want fewer people on the road, so they're willing to actually pay to keep you out of the driver's seat. Oh yeah, the goal is to reduce traffic and air pollution and encourage the use of public transit. They're calling it the One Car Challenge. The city will offer cash payments of nearly $600 to two-car families who give up one of their cars for 5 weeks. They also get free public transportation. Something to think about. All right, it's spooky season, and that means getting those Halloween decorations out and shopping for costumes. But many customers say the holidays are costing them an arm and a leg. NBC4's Gordon Tokumatsu has some ways to save.
Goodwill does a study every year looking at buying habits for customers. It found that a whopping 77% of Americans say that higher prices due to inflation will have an impact on what and where they buy this year. But 84% still plan to celebrate. Is that your situation?
Oh, absolutely.
Like nearly 60% of people in the survey, Marcy Rosenthal has turned to DIY as a way to save money and be more resourceful, clipping, cutting, and sewing to save hundreds of dollars.
When I can find stuff here at Goodwill, I upcycle and make it fit.
We got white shoes. Let's do a white cowgirl hat.
Goodwill District Manager Eric Hart says you should start by letting your imagination run wild. He showed us a bunch of outfits he and his staff slammed together this morning just to show us how easy it is. Jessica's outfit, for instance, mob boss's wife at a funeral.
This dress, $14.99. This shawl would probably be about like $30, $40.
Or Tyrone, rocking some Harry Potter vibes. Eric says the Gryffindor scarf and coat were donated as a costume, so that was lucky, but the rest, shirt to shoes, came right off the racks.
About $30, $35, not paying sales tax.
That's a big savings all by itself, says Eric. Your bill at checkout is even lower at a nonprofit like Goodwill. Also, where else can you find a pairing like this? Purple jacket, wacky tie, pants and shoes. To be the Joker, all you need to add is some face makeup.
It's that fast, you know. All you need is a little bit of creativity. You find one piece you really like.
Even props are substantially less here, like this little gem, $20. We found Lindsay Nelson putting together a Queen of Hearts costume. She told us, of course, Halloween stuff is expensive this year, but she's not going to let that get her out of the spirit. And no, she's not buying her costumes at Spirit Halloween.
I've got a red dress, and then I'm going to take the little sleeves off this. For just the costume bits, I'm thinking maybe $20 per costume.
In Atwater Village, Gordon Tokumatsu, NBC4 News.
Once the actors' strike ends, you may have to pay more to see your favorite stars on Netflix. According to the Wall Street Journal, Netflix is planning to hike the price of its ad-free service once the SAG-AFTRA strike is resolved. Now, right now, no word on exactly how much more you'll have to pay. And Uber announced that it will begin picking up packages for shipping. That's right, there will be a return package feature on the Uber and Uber Eats app in most cities. Customers can send up to 5 packages at a time for a $5 flat fee. Drivers will pick up the packages and drop them off at UPS, FedEx, or the U.S. Postal Service. NASA is making plans to build houses on the moon within the next 17 years. They could be bases for astronauts and even possible Airbnbs for space tourists. How does that sound? I think it's awesome. They'll build these houses by launching a giant 3D printer to the surface of the moon. It will use lunar concrete made of rocks, mineral fragments, and even moon dust to create panels that could be snapped together in space. The 3D printer would also create doors, tiles, and furniture for the homes. NASA expects to have all of this up and running by the year 2040. Moon exploration is set to kick in high gear in the next couple years. The Artemis program is set to send astronauts into lunar orbits next year and then back to the surface of the moon in either 2025 or 2026. I can't wait. An inspiring elementary school teacher in the Baldwin Hills area is filling in for Vanna White on the Wheel of Fortune this week. Very exciting. So this is Mrs. Bridget Donald Blue. She teaches math at Coliseum Street Elementary School, and she's been named the 2023 California Teacher of the Year. She's taking over the puzzle board duties while Vanna White is recovering from COVID.
Please welcome Bridget Donald Blue.
When I got the call to be a part of Wheel of Fortune for Teachers Week, I was tremendously excited. It was a great opportunity to champion the cause of education, the work that teachers do every day.
Mrs. Donald Blue has been teaching for the past 3 decades. We love and appreciate all of our educators, and we are giving her an A++. You can always get news and weather updates on the NBCLA app and our website, NBCLA.com. And be sure to tune into Today in LA on NBC4 weekdays from 4 to 7 a.m. I'll be helping you get around with traffic reports throughout your morning commute. I'll see you next time on The Rundown.